Welcome back, everybody. I guess you didn't expect me to come back so soon. This might last 10 minutes. This might last 30 minutes. I don't know. But I got to start doing more of these, shooting from the hip, the old school way. Welcome back. The title is They Don't Make Black Men Anymore Like They Used to. First of all, I want to say kudos to all the brothers out there who are holding it down, who are real black men. You're not cross-dressing. You're not wearing women's underwear. You're not punking out from your responsibilities. You're not trying to thug it out, because that's not a real man. Man, I got to do what I got to do. I got to hold it down. And you're in a prison cell now. Mike Tyson said, and I can't paraphrase him, that most people who are in prison, aside from those who are innocent, are people who can't get their lives together. They can't make it in the outside world. We've been rendered dysfunctional. We're all messed up, y'all. Not all of us, but a lot of us in some form or fashion. And, a lot of men are so quick to call women the bitch word. But I'm seeing more men today, in the present day, more black men, that are more bitchs than ever before. I don't like to call women bitchs. I never felt comfortable doing that. If I had to describe the wayward behavior of a woman, I would describe specifically the wayward behavior of a woman. That's off course. But men should never fall into the category of the bitch situation. Welcome back, Sister Queen Diane. Today, I don't know, back in the day, I'm not saying just my age, but the folks that I looked up to, the men that I looked up to, they didn't have to be muscular, they didn't have to be jocks, but they were men of character and of principle. And all of them wasn't perfect. All of them were not perfect at all. And I'm not excusing the infidelities. I'm just saying all of them were not perfect, but when it came time that these black men had to stand on a code, they did. We had everything going on back in the day that we have today, except now it's amplified and disproportionate. We're falling apart in the black community. And I blame the men. When the man does right, everything falls into place. We had men in the black community that stood over like sentinels on top of the mountain when folks were at war. Some of the brothers had a chance to sleep, but that sentinel had to stay awake to look over the mountain to see if there was any opposition coming their way. The next night, it might be the next brother. We looked out for each other. We preserved each other. Just like Brother Neil Frazier was saying just a little while ago. A lot of us have something about us that we can't work together. It's like we've been poisoned. We've had a chip embedded in our subconscious mind to act and behave a certain way. We work along with each other up to a point, and something within us starts to self-destruct. What is that? For me, now, I got to vet you a long way, not just on what you've done, but what you're doing now. And my spirit has to tell me right, because I'm pretty much moved solo unless we really get down with each other. And still, check my credit. I don't mean the credit score. I mean, every year, reassess my actions, my words, and my behaviors. Don't even trust me or give it blindly forever. Put me to task. Because so many brothers out here who seem sincere, trust and believe, they're frauds. The ego and the envy on each other when we should be building. And I'm not out here talking about, oh, we need to stick together. We need to. No, I'm not even saying that no more because it's falling on BITCH black men's ears. There are some black men who are, will they flag me for this? Bitch. They look like men. They talk like men. They know the right things to say. But time and time again, many of them are disappointments. I'm not saying all. We got some real brothers out here. But the frauds are taking up space because if they were real and aware, we would move forward faster. We'd be so much further along. But why are we not? Because that on cold black man that I'm used to seeing when I was a young boy, looking up and they were tall and I was short, 4 or 5 years old, starting with my father, right? A strong black man who moved on code, who was independent and had his own business. And he got up motivated every morning to do his thing. Had his book with his, they didn't have computers back then, with his clients, his appointments. He got paid, he'd lay out the money on the table, and he had me count the money too. And most of the folks that he worked for were white folks in their landmark properties when he refinished their floors. And when the white man is paying him the cash and the money, my father would say, give it to my son. And the first time that happened, I was being set up. But these are lessons that fathers teach. What happened for me to be set up? My father told the white man to take $50 out of the money. And he wanted to see my reaction. So I'm counting the money, whatever it was a good amount, even for back in the early 70s. And I'm looking, and then I looked to my father. And he said, no, don't look to me. He gave you the money. You tell him what the situation is. You look him in the eyes and tell him what the situation is. So I understood at that moment. So I said, listen, Mr. Whoever you are, you're $50 short. We need to correct this. The father sat there and he was pleased by the way I amped it up immediately. But at first I looked to him. Manhood training. Who's training our men now? Why are they jealous little bitches now? Why can't they grin and bear it with their responsibilities and be the real superheroes of our community, regardless as to what you do? I've seen men who are janitors in local schools, public schools, who walk tall. They made their money honestly. They budgeted. They lived below their means. They took care of their family, and they lived fairly well. And they chose good women to be their wives. They didn't look at the woman as a tool for pleasure. The pleasure is there. Why are you looking at the pleasure first? Do you go in a restaurant and want to eat the dessert first? No, you eat the meal first, right? We're ass backwards these days, big time. Yes, Sister Diane, you said it right. I got to share that on the screen because if I say it, and I'm about to say it, people are going to knock me out for it. I believe the men are being trained by their mothers. That's a lot of it. Our homes are imbalanced. I'm going to leave that up for a little while. And you see, it's a beautiful sister who said that. She understands. Black women who are raising their children by themselves are trying to do the best that they can. I understand that. But the optimum situation by nature, mentally, spiritually, and physically, is to have the mother and the father. The mother is extremely important. We understand that. And they're supposed to work together with the man. But let's pull it back a little bit. Choices. Oh, he looked good. Oh, he got a big thing. It feels so good. Do you judge or assess a man merely on that? Or he comes off masculine to you, but he's doing the wrong thing to earn his money. You get a rush from that. Ooh, it's exciting. I'm not blaming the sisters. Those who are bitter, look at your choices. But the men now, the men that are raised by their mothers, you got to have a balance of the feminine and masculine energy, right? And if you don't have a father, you better have some good uncles, good neighbors, good people to make up for, so that young child can hear the bass in that man's righteous voice. There's something about a man in the home. Sometimes the child will rebel a little bit. And what do we hear in the Black homes, the two-parent households? You wait till your daddy comes home. And then when they go into the bedroom and sleep and the father comes home, or whatever it may be in the living room playing a video game, and the father comes in and the mother tells him, come here, son. Come here, we got to talk. You know what it is. He may not put his hand on you. Maybe he spanks you a little bit. I'm not against that. Because you know, these folks who breed serial killers always have time out. That behind whipping worked back in the day, and it should work now. But everything with the government and the so-called authorities, they don't want you to raise your children. They want you to be hands off with them so that they can go now and be rebellious teenagers and rebellious adults so they can make money off of you when you're locked up. So how dare you interfere with the state's money? You're supposed to grow your children, your young boys, like crops, so they can come now and get the harvest on those crops and get paid and get cheap labor on the side of the highway, or making license plates, or doing whatever repetitive, low-skilled things that there ought to be done. While they pump those same black men who are locked up with all kind of drinks, orange drink with all kind of chemicals in the food and experimentation, packing them up with each other. And a lot of them are full of feminine energy. And so they start doing each other. Prisons are crops for that white man and that government. They breed homosexuality big time. When I was working in corrections, you know how many men I caught giving blowjobs to the next man and had to break it up and put them in different cells? You know how many times I went into a cell and they had a bunk, one low and one high, and the sheets from the top bunk were tucked in the mattress of the top bunk to cover up the bottom bunk. And excuse my language, I got to call it like it is. The two men were in that bottom bunk when you couldn't see them and the lights were low. You peek and they, hey, get on your walkie-talkie and tell them to cut the lights on and roll the doors, and you go up in there and you get hit with the smell of a man's innards, his ass, raw. Ain't no air conditioning in those cells. Small little cell. You smell that, you'll never forget that smell, right? It's even different, I'm gonna tell you. A man and a woman who decide to have anal sex, I'm gonna talk raw tonight, y'all. That smell don't smell like that. But two men, you never forget it. It's embedded and occupied in in several of my brain cells, and I can never forget it. To talk about it, I'm smelling it again. Why? Like I said before, and I always say it, there's no life up in the next man's butthole. What are you doing? Are you so rewired that you look at the next dude and you go, look at that? That's the worst kind of lust. Now, these are my opinions. I know this social media platform doesn't like it. So what? It's my opinion. I'm supposed to shut up and get with your program? They don't make black men like they used to anymore. There was always that handkerchief wearing dude who was soft spoken, who never hung around the neighborhood. He rented a room or an apartment, and you'd see him on a Friday night with his companion, but they didn't bother nobody. We know what it was. They got ghosts. They kept their stuff inside. Now you have black men out here who want to be out and proud and what? We need real men in the home. What the hell? How are we going to build a black community when one man is looking at the next man? And what about the women? They're making them masculine too. And anything decadent that the white community, the white power structure wants to push, we have to become the face of it all. Why is that? I remember there was a basketball player who came out many years ago. It had to be after 2008 because that's when Barack Obama became president, right? And he said that he had to make a phone call to this basketball player who was on the front cover, maybe Sports Illustrated or some magazine, simply because he said he was rainbow. Am I knocking you? That's the result of something. And we failed. But if you're doing what you do what you do behind the closed doors. Do I rip the door off my toilet so the world can see when I'm sitting down on the toilet bowl? I don't understand it. You proud of that? What happened to being proud of raising a family, having your sons and your daughters proud of you? You're supposed to be their superhero. What happened with that connection? Why have they destroyed anything that resembles, and I don't want to say strong black men because out the box, we come that way. You don't have to say a fast Lamborghini, right? Your aunt, your grandmother, your mother makes a wonderful meal. Yeah, you're going to say it's good, but you show how good it is by how you eat it. I am strong. I knew that from birth. I'm 3, 4 years old, looking up at my father, and he's got these muscles. And he was short. He was about 5'6" and a half, 5'7", 5. He was a short man, 215 pounds, nothing but muscle. He had tattoos, not some gang stuff, but he was in the British Navy at one time before he came to America. But he was always that dude. When he was in Jamaica, he had these motorcycles and the girlfriends or whatever. He defended people. He didn't take nothing from nobody. I personally seen him knock somebody out, and he wasn't a bully. And he was up in years when he did that. He walked in on a robbery in this store where he knew the owner. And he walked in there and he saw the gun with it. So he put him out. I'm in the front seat of the van looking like, oh my God. They called the cops and everything. It was funny. Now, I'm not advocating violence. All I'm saying is that I had something to look up to. I would admire him. I would listen to him. I was guided, and he didn't make me become him, but I couldn't help it. You see squirrels playing. You see the older squirrel playing with the younger squirrel, is teaching the younger squirrel how to maneuver its body and whip its tail and shift its weight in case something bigger and stronger is coming to it to try to be a predator, to eat it or do some harm to it. Not all animals have fangs to fight back or bite back or wings to fly away. We all have a way of surviving. But most of us, as a modern day Black man, and I will say those also in my age group, I don't know what would even happen to those who should know better. The younger ones, we have some good young ones too. Again, I'm not saying all, but it's too many now. As much as we're under attack, it's too many of us who don't know. We got all this information out here. All this information on how the enemy comes at us, and we're walking around butt-ass stupid. Stupid as can be. I never understood it. Mad Guns Monster. Western culture, no. Say it properly. The epidemic of homosexuality is spawned from the ice people. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're right. I ain't mad at you. You ain't never said nothing wrong in the years that I've known you. That's right. Ice people, my mother took several classes from Leonard Jeffries at San Jose State back in the early 70s, have not heard that term in years. And that's what it is. Mad Gun Master, he's one of the real ones. And we have Chrissy here. Welcome back, Chrissy. Greetings, Brother Lance. Always a pleasure to catch you live. Love and blessings to you. Much love to you always. Y'all been rocking with me for years, and I really appreciate it. But, you know, truth must be told. I got to get these things off my chest. I'm sick of seeing it. This is 2026. I'm 63 years old now. I was talking to a dear friend of mine, a dear sister friend of mine today. I said, in 20 years, I'm 83. I'm not scared of that because I'm built to be durable. I'm not afraid of transition. I'm not afraid of getting older. Why be afraid? We're part of the natural cycle of life. There's another level behind this. But some of us don't even realize that. We just seeing today and the now, and a lot of us, too many of us are punking out. And what I'm most disappointed in are the men who should know better. It runs across my mind, certain individuals who I know who should know better, like in my own personal life, and folks that I've observed. You know, we all have circles. We have our inner circle. We have a circle behind that. Maybe we don't talk all the time, but we know who we are. And then we have, it's like the rings of Saturn around us. In the outer circles, you know, maybe we don't know them intimately as much, but we kind of know. But the ones who are in those inner circles are disappointing me more now than ever before. They should know better. And there's too many men, again, who are jealous little bitches. They should, how can I say it? Let me jump to the same thing, but I'm jumping to a different lane. You know how many men, and you all know that back in the day, I used to do bodybuilding and compete and all of that stuff. That's not the complete person of who I am. The same discipline that built that body back then is the same discipline I have now, right? I'm that same person. It just manifested in those several years of my life when I did well in that thing naturally. But my stick-to-itiveness, drive, and focus is something that was put into me from young. I've always been that way. Now let's take it to another level, and I'm going to explain it completely. Well, let me make a statement. This is something I've been wanting to talk about, and maybe that's a whole separate show. And I made this statement before. I made this statement before on the show briefly. And we have these men, these older or old-ass men, who, if you're a person who's 15 years old, you say, man, that guy LanceScurv, he's like my grandfather, man, but he's an old-ass man. I accept that. I accept that you may see it that way because your mind is a little limited. And I have no problem with that. I was a young boy one time. Get out of here, young boy. My father never said that. My mother never said that. But I'm just saying, it goes with the territory. But time goes fast. but we're still the same on the inside, whatever we are. But I'm surprised to get to this age and know so many men who are so caught up in the sexual prowess of the next man. Some old dude that you see, that you know, or you get to meet, and they seem like they're cool, but there's a lot of insecure men out here, insecure black men. Look, back in the day, you had a girlfriend or two or whatever. Hey, brother, I see you, man. You know, that's yours right there. Whatever, more power to you. No, they didn't have guy. Who's he think he is? He's got all these women. And again, I'm saying the measure of a man is not how many women he has. I want to say that. And when I was much younger, we know there were numbers coming LanceScurv's way. That's nothing I brag about. I don't have notches on my belt. Yeah, no, I don't brag on that. That's just the way things were. I never had a problem that way. But you have these old guys who even didn't know you when you were younger, and they size you up. And really what it is, they're mad at you. I'm going to tell it. Maybe a lot of folks didn't think about it, but they're mad at you according to the amount of a JJ that they figured you had when you were younger. See, these old guys my age, they don't stop thinking a certain way if they're like that. Again, all black men are not like this, but an increasing number, they are. They're comparing themselves. And social media has made it worse. The whole comparison thing. Instead of saying, hey, bro, I'm glad for you. You're inspiring me. See, and I've always said this. Jealousy and motivation are two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. If you're not motivated by what your brother is doing, you're jealous. You can hide it. You can deny it. But if you're not motivated by what you see, now he may have gone out and bought a brand new car. Cars may not be your thing. You might be into collecting model tanks and painting them or whatever it may be. Whatever your thing is, if you see somebody doing something and ascending to a higher level, then it should motivate you and set off a spark in your mind and in your heart like, wow, I really admire that guy. I want to be like him. In a righteous way. Not where I want to copy him and outdo him. So he has that car and I'm going to get a better car and I'm going to get, but like I said, it's a pissing contest with these guys. I never thought that I would see grown ass men who I'm in the category of grown ass old men now. And I really don't think I'm old. My energy is youthful. I've been here for a long time. I feel good. I'm not in denial. I'm very careful when I climb up a ladder now, because if I fall, I might not be as durable as when I was 20 years old, even though I think I am. I'm not going to fool myself, though. I'm not delusional. But those men that I knew and saw growing up, I'm looking at the same men in those same age groups right now, and they would not have survived back then. They would have been called out. They would have been called to task. Because we got a lot of punk men amongst us right now. Again, when something happens in the black community and we're outraged for the weekend or for the next week, and social media, everybody's talking, but nobody's doing. You know, social media is a trap. We get on and we talk and we're putting the pedal to the metal, but it's like somebody is lifting up the vehicle so the tires are not touching the ground, so we're not going anywhere. We feel satisfied by just talking. And I do a lot of talking and expressing, but in my personal life, I'm doing more effective things that maybe the camera will never see. See, I'm not looking for validation. I'm not looking for applause. The little bit of hits I get now, if I was looking for hits, I would have been quit a long time ago. This is what I do. I dedicated this big ass studio for what I do. This is my man cave. This is the place where I do what I do. And I enjoy it. This is me. I'm not competing with anybody. But I see a lot of men who they just walk around with envy. And they don't like you if it seems like you got more attention when you were younger than they did. They don't even know you. And these are men sometimes with great degrees, lots of money, whatever, checking the box in most categories that I can't even check the box in. And I'm not even worried about that. I'm comfortable in my skin. But I have to rope-a-dope a lot of these energies now that come around with a smiling face, but they really want to destroy you because they see that you're genuine and they know in their heart they're not. I don't understand it. Feel good for the brother. This is why we can't organize and do things. Everybody wants to be at the helm. Everybody wants to be the chief. Everybody wants to be the leader. Could we do a bus boycott in 2026? No. Like Brother Neil was saying, we can't walk 400 miles or take a trip that way to do something worthwhile. We don't even want to go to the next room to get the remote control for the TV. We text somebody in the house, yo, bring me the remote. I'm in the living room. You can't get up and do it yourself. Repairing things around the home and taking charge and having that presence. Used to be you walk up to somebody's house and you see a man in the yard working and you know that's the man of the house. Hey, how you doing, brother? Can I help you? You felt this thing. You didn't see a thing where some man is looking at you. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, it's strange to me. It's always been strange. And we're breaking the cycle, the righteous cycle, the same way they have Monsanto now. My dear sister sent me something a little while ago about how you can't mess with the seeds that they plant because now you're messing with something they own. I don't want your funky seeds. I want original seeds. And that's why they want to take away your ability to vibe with nature. But most men vibe with that. I'm pissed off at that righteously. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep the natural seeds we have in the yard growing. And Mrs. Scurv going to keep on bringing more exotic stuff. Not going out like that. And the posturing that we do. You know, all men, when they're coming up, unless they're tampered with, they want to be a man. You know, when you're younger, you see, you know, the older men driving the cars and they have money, and not just to be superficial, but when you're a young teenager, you want to have that kind of power. Now, so many of the men don't even see a woman a certain way. They don't want to be around a woman. What's that group they have? MGTOW, men going their own way. Where the hell are you going? Where you going without a woman? What you gonna do? Play up in your dookie shoot? That's what you want? That's what it comes down to? And then those who may not be that way, they're hating on their own brothers, competing with their own brothers. White man come and say something, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. You got no problem with it. Because deep in the back of your mind, you're supposed to honor and revere him. He's the superior one to you. You walking down the street and you see a bunch of them and you start shrinking. If you're 6'5", now you're 5'9". If you got Barry White bass in your voice, now you sound like Michael Jackson. No knock to Michael Jackson, but he was not Barry White. And Michael Jackson, he was very much hetero, right? But he had a different kind of upbringing. We know that. We know that story, and we still love him. But when it comes time to your own brothers, you want to brace up, want to have a pissing contest, You wanna show that the size of your organ is bigger than his, which don't mean a damn thing, because there's a lot of men out here with big dicks that can't hold down a job, who can't take care of their family. That's all they're good for. And you have the foolish women who just go for them with that. Well, guess what? It's nice sometimes to make love with the lights on and lights off. Sometimes people got the mirror and they doing their thing and they looking. I'm not gonna get too nasty, y'all. But when you're in the dark because you have no choice, what good is that big phallus for at that particular time? And it's not about money per se, but yes, it is about money because we're in this system. I check my light bill. Light bill here in Ghana, for the most part, is prepaid. And every month I put money on more than what I use. I don't use a lot of light. We don't use a lot of lights. And when I check the balance of it, I'll show you. Wait now. I'm not going to show you the balance because you can't see it. But there's a box that you can put in a code and punch it in with your code, your specific numbers for your house, for your meter, and it tells you how much you have in your balance. And I get a thrill when I go into town or I do it over the computer. And I say, let me put 1,000 CDs on my light bill. Maybe I might burn 20 that month. You just keep putting 100. You got extra pocket change, you about to go, let me put 300 on, right? And it adds up. I'm weird that way. Instead of blowing it on something stupid, we can put on lights when we need it. Unless there's a power outage, right? But a real man wants to continue to improve himself. He wants to gain more wisdom. He knows he's a leader. He knows he has influence. He's up to the task. And when you are that, your influence in your ability to motivate goes beyond the confines of your household into the community. And there's an overlap. And again, you may have a sister in your neighborhood, your community, and she might be a single mother. I'm not saying, see, when we hear single mother, we think all of this negative stuff. Yeah, there are bad choices out there. Sometimes things don't work out or you jump into things too fast. We're not talking about that now. Because when I used to drive the bus in Orlando, Florida, there was a woman who had 4 kids and she was in a homeless shelter. And I told this story before. She had a husband who was doing extremely well in business in the corporate world. And he took care of everything. She took care of the house, but she had no knowledge of, she wasn't dumb, but she just didn't run. He ran everything. And he got unalived in a really bad car accident. And his family didn't like how they lived because he took care of his wife so well. Her family was envious. So when money did come through, because he took care of that also, it quickly dwindled. I'm not saying overnight, but she didn't have the wherewithal to handle her family, who didn't like how she was living, but they were asking for money and she was being nice, giving it away, didn't take care of certain things, and they lived and she lost the house. And she ended up in a shelter. So I'm driving the bus and I would see her on the bus stop. She would never ride. She was near the shelter, but she wouldn't, stay in there all the time. She would sit in the bus stop. A lot of people do that. And on the bus, I would hear passengers. Passengers I knew. Man, look at this woman out here, man, in a homeless shelter, man. She got four kids. She probably on drugs and probably, I don't know, man, these black women ain't no good, so and so. But they didn't know her story. I didn't know her story until she came and rode the bus one day. She was standing by the bus stop. It started to rain real bad. She didn't want to go into the shelter at that time with her children. Yes, I'm itching my foot. We can podcast and itch our feet too. And so she was standing there and she didn't have any money. And she was standing by the bus stop like she wanted to get out of the rain. I said, come on, it's okay. I knew she was homeless because a couple of times Mrs. Scurv and I went down to the homeless shelter and we cooked up all these meals, you know, styrofoam and good. They were good. It wasn't like, oh, it's homeless people. Nah, you'd want to take one of those home. And I remember seeing her. So when she sat down, she thanked me. I told her she didn't have to pay, just ride, whatever. So she was grateful and told me her life story and how she ended up out there and how people look down on her, how people are so cruel, you know, how they can be heartless. It's not everybody that's on drugs. It's not everybody who found themselves in those situations. But what I didn't ask her, but I had to ask, where are the men? Where are the men to pick up the slack? I mean, in the Black community, even before I was born, I hear the stories of how people looked out for each other. Even I know that if I lost my key coming home and I was locked out and my folks weren't home, they'll be home soon. But there's a whole block, whole community of neighbors I could have gone to, stayed there, done my home. Hear me or not, I'm back right now. Yes, Mad Guns, I know you do. I know you overpay. Yes. Yes, it's nice. It comes to a zero balance. They owe you. But I know with your proactive way of living and things you share with me that you're like that. I know you're like that, you know? But it's let me see what Sister Diane said. It started during slavery, in my opinion, and too much is shown to children on these social media platforms where there is no parental consent. It's worse, y'all. Oh man, I'm glad you said that. Let's leave that up for a little while. I'm glad you said that, Sister Diane. I upload these episodes to different social media platforms. I don't get on there and like I used to and talk so much or whatever. You know, not that I was looking for, you've been talking 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like that's the thing to do, you know. But it's not seeking validation. That was what you did to build your platform. But now it's just so much flooded. Makes no sense. So I'll take the link of this show, link of that show, put it up. But in doing so, like if I go on Facebook, they'll have what's on your page. And I couldn't believe it. It actually happened earlier today. It was a real Facebook post that they allowed on Facebook. It was a woman, a Black woman, a slender Black woman, very attractive. I'm not saying that just because of what I saw her exposing. But when she braced up and got up on the bed, all she had was a G-string in the camera, bent over, and the string didn't cover the apparatus. I had to check, how did this get on Facebook? This was a real Facebook post. You saw her anus. You saw the vagina, everything. And she's just wiggling, smiling. I'm a man, so I wasn't offended. Oh my God, this is terrible. I can't see this. No, but I had to question. And really now, everybody and their mama is a content creator. You got AI making pages under certain themes that's trying to attract men or titillate or bring drama, and they're not even real people. And the hits on these things are in the millions. And little kids are seeing it, the drama. You have some skits that may last a minute or even 30 seconds, an intense argument, that's very engaging, and then it's done. And people subscribe to this. Little kids follow it, and they're learning. They're learning. They're exposed to too much. And it's said that the brain doesn't completely develop until the age of 25 years old. So you 8, 9 years old, seeing all this stuff, being fed all this stuff before hormones hit your body, before you have the wisdom to deal with the sexual things that you see. And then we got the men who should be in position for guidance, but they're looking at these young kids as prey. Not P-R-A-Y, P-R-E-Y. More and more. And I'm going to say it, it's all over the world, it's worldwide. That Epstein stuff. And even in the Black community. Look, this is the so-called motherland. They got issues over here. There's things I see over here more and more, right? I'm glad to be here. It's been very beneficial for me. I'm living a different life, and I love it. But human nature is human nature no matter where you go. So you have these young girls who maybe every story is not the same. But I've read stories written by folks here in Ghana, in Africa, and folks who were born and raised here who moved abroad. And I'm going to say it again. You have the kata girls. The kata is a little cloth you put on your head so you can balance everything. Because I always wondered, like, how did these people, I've seen in the pictures, I didn't notice a little cloth there. Big and round as my head is, I'd put something on there, it'll fall off. But they fold it and they turn it, and it cushions and, you know, keeps it where, and the balance is good. Now, I got good balance. Y'all know I ride a unicycle for most of my life. But anyway, to generalize the story, to get to the point about these dirty old men victimizing these young girls, you have some women who, they don't live in Accra, which is very expensive. I don't live in Accra. I'm on the outskirts. I would be paying United States type and even more because they capitalize on it. They push that, you know, live at the so-and-so estates, the high-rise apartments for so-and-so, this property, they designate, you know, nah, I'm not doing that. I didn't come out here to be stressed. So you have these young ladies who may live far away from the epicenter of a big city like Accra or Kumasi. And they want to come to Accra because they feel it's a lot more cash flow. Even though the economy is terrible, it's better here than it may be way out in the villages where, in fact, you don't need as much money because you're growing your stuff. The properties are dirt cheap. I don't mean cheap like it's something cheap, but not expensive, and you're living in nature, which they may not realize that they're living the best life. This is why you see male and female physical specimens that look like well-trained athletes, because a lot of them never touch any bad food. They're in the sun, they're doing the stuff in the farming, they're lifting things, they're exercising, and they're healthy. Well, maybe they may think now, I want to advance myself in life. I want to become something in the medical field. I want to do something, and it's not up here in the village, in village life. They may not have any skills. So they come down, a lot of young ladies, they could be 12, 13 years old. And they work carrying stuff, fruits, vegetables, whatever people shop and have on their head while they shop and bring it to their car. And they'll hang out with you for a long time. And they'll adjust what they ask you for pay, which is next to nothing. You feel guilty for what they ask. You're like, that's all? You've been walking with me for an hour and you've been carrying 70 or 80 pounds on your head? Yes, they are strong. And guess what? A lot of them have a baby on their back. Wait a second. Can I ask you something? How old are you? Oh, I'm 14. How old is your baby? Oh, a year and a half. She's out here doing this. A lot of old, dirty ass men see their young little bodies developing and figure they can just give them a little money, and spray the garden. I'll just say it that way. Out here. Don't think the men out here are righteous, all of them. Culturally, they put on a good face, but there's a lot of dirt. I live here. I don't want to say it. I'm not scared to say it, but I'll say it on a private show. I want to really get down and share it with you. We'll do something like that. But I still love it here, right? But still, for a place that professes, not professor, but professes the religious, righteous, we are Christians, we are Muslim facade, they're sex crazed out here. Sex crazed. The men, and they will act so upstanding. When nobody's looking, they're going to try you, right? There's a lot more to it than that. But I'm saying that there isn't an agency, I believe, out here, like child welfare or whatever you call it in your individual state, because they have different names. There's nothing like that. So a young girl gets pregnant, well, you better find some way to feed that kid. Because that 65-year-old man that put it in your 13-year-old body, he's nowhere to be found. Where are the men? Now, I wasn't here growing up back in the day, so I can't really speak on the trajectory, but still it falls under the category, where are the righteous men? And you do have them here. But I know America, the United States, even better. What happened to us? What happened to that sense of protection, which for me, I don't need the next man for protection. Collectively, we need to protect each other because we know we have a common enemy that doesn't look like us. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that our women, our sisters, our children should be able to walk freely in their community. And even if the person down the block may not know you and they're a man, their eyes and their might should be there for you. We need to police ourselves. We shouldn't need police. In our community, we need to be the police. But if you running around here jive turkeying and all you doing is want to just take women off of their bodies, use them for a place to sleep, use their resources, and act like there's some kind of accomplishment. Case in point, back to the bus, when I used to drive the bus. See, everything I've done in this life always brought me around a lot of people and gave me many chances to observe human nature. Lots of chances to observe human nature. And I would see guys come out of the jail, and now I'm driving the bus. But these guys with the recidivism back and forth, you know them. Hey, Scurv, man, you driving the bus now? Oh, man. Just got out last week, man. I hooked up with this chick. I got this real nice suit, so I go to church, when I come out. And I always snag me a lady. So, living with her right now, man, but I'm looking for something else. Really? What you doing, man? You crazy? Yeah, man. So he may roll up a week or two after coming out of jail. I'm at the red light. He's honking the horn. Hey, man, you like this Lexus, man? This my ladies. Then you see him driving some other woman around and they think it's his. What kind of games are we playing? You being slick to deceive somebody, you could use that sense of cunning in a righteous way to build a business, to build a life with a woman, and you defend her and protect her, right? And it's you against the world. I don't mean against in a bad way where you're going to step on people's toes, but use that drive, use that testosterone for something worthwhile. What's wrong with you? If you can't do something worthwhile, then you need to not try to do anything at all until you figure it out. I don't get up out of the bed until I know what I project for that day. There's about 3 or 4 brothers in my living room sleeping or resting. They're gonna get up early and continue to work. I know that was happening. I know they were coming. We negotiated that. We're trying to improve. They're trying to improve their lives. They want to make money. I need work done. You build every day. If you can't reach that goal incrementally, you can move toward it. And even if you don't have the money right now to do certain things, you can plan on it. It can be in your mind. Work on it. Don't use your energy in an idle way that's going to land you in prison or jail, or land you up dead, or land you with a idle mind looking at your brother and envious of him. Like I said, I've been the target of a lot of envy, venom from grown men who can get up on a YouTube and talk righteous. And because of their narcissistic heart, they don't like to see what I was doing. Wow. Some of these people you help, you promote them, you push them. And they turn around and give you their behind the kiss. It's crazy what people have in their heart. I'm not going out like that. I don't want that kind of toxicity. I spend a lot of time with Mrs. Scurv and alone. I give her her time. I have my time. We have our time together and we vibe. But the toxicity that you have inside your heart, no matter how much you smile, no matter how much you try to hide it from the outside world, it will eat you up. That venom you have will eat you up. Right now, I got the word today, a very dear friend of mine growing up, that you've heard many times on this show. He's not doing too good. He's locked up and his health is declining fast. And although I love him very much, I've known him from 1971. To hear the news that I got today, I know I was buffering for a second, but to hear that news that I got today, that to take him out to jail and put him in the hospital. And I felt that in my spirit, but I haven't had a chance for a long time to communicate directly because of the situation. But the venom that he possessed in his heart, that I knew was there, but he never directed it toward me. But I knew it was there. I know more than any other health issue that he brought on himself by poor eating, the venom inside of him is going to eventually eat him up. Your spirit, your essence, your life force, your energy can make the difference to ward off sickness. It doesn't mean you can abuse yourself, but a lot of men take themselves out because the venom they have toward the next man, or the bad feeling, or not wishing somebody well. Well, don't wish anything at all then. You curse your family with the venomous heart that you have. You're supposed to be their leader. I'm speaking in general and to a few specific people that you all don't know who can't stand my guts. Telling other people how much, oh, I hate him. I hate him. Me hate him. Me can't stand him. Me hate. Why? Because maybe there's something about me that exposes something in you. I can tell you all my stuff that I've conquered. I could tell you the things that have been so minimized that I needed to correct that it's not even detectable anymore. But I've never been a venomous person that way. I don't understand jealousy like that. My parents never allowed it. They never saw it in me to correct me on anything. That's the one thing, because that's a poison that sucks down your life force and it eats you up. You looking at everybody else and, oh, they got this, or they got this status. Again, what happened to the black men? Instead of lifting each other up. Hey, brother, they hiring down by so-and-so. You want to come on down with me, man? I'm going down there. Now, I ain't telling him nothing. Let me get that job. They might give it to him and not give it to me. A hookup somewhere for something good. And you don't want to tell nobody. I know an individual who didn't want Mrs. Scurv to find out where this particular vegetable shop was out here. No, I'm not telling. I'm not telling. You so venomous to your own people that you didn't want a mutual friend to tell her where the vegetable spot was that has vegetables that are not here in Ghana? Damn. What happened to the black men? And all of the things that many of us have inside of us that we know is there. You know it's there, but you working so hard on the facade. And in the middle of the night, you know the poison that you have in your heart for other people. You're making yourself old. Looking old. Don't be mad at me. I don't have that kind of venom in my heart for anybody. I get mad at things, not because of a person's achievements or whatever. No. Unrighteousness, and I get angry righteously at things when I see bad things done to good people. I want to jump in and defend it. Certain things are not going to happen on my watch because I'm from that era of that influence. A lot of men today, again, I say, are punks. And the biggest punks that are truly punks are the ones that talk that good game instead of showing and proving. What are the fruits coming from your life? You can spray up as many wombs as you want and have as many children. Look, I know a dude was in the jail. Me and Mr. Scurv were talking last night about him because he's a clown. He's a funny guy. But he's living really unbalanced. He's got 39 kids. His father, who's a truck driver, has about 67 kids at last count. And he's so proud of that. Oh, my daddy got 67 kids. I got 39. You're not producing anything. You're in and out of jail. The biggest thing you ever did to produce any funds was sell weed. You steal stuff. Any crime that's not violent bodily to somebody, he'll do. And to him, he's in the world as far as the way he presents himself. And if you see him in his demeanor, he's laid back. But I'm wondering, man, and Mrs. Scurv said it. Now, I'm not a kind of man that, oh, that man ugly. Maybe I'm ugly to somebody. I don't know. I don't look at men like that to say or judge. Now, if you didn't iron your pants and there's wrinkles in it, or you didn't comb your hair and there's lint in there, somebody could say that, but it's not for me to say. Because a righteous man, even if he's not going to make it on the cover of a magazine, and if he's righteous and holds things down, protects his family, provides for his family, that makes him handsome, right? You got a lot of handsome men out here that are no good. But I've seen the reaction from a lot of women when I'm driving the bus, and they're like, oh my God. And they would say, they know him too. How'd you get 39 kids, man? And he'll show photos of the women. Say, what is it? Look, I'm not even judging. I know the guy real good. When I was working in the jail, he was locked up in my area all the time. We talk all the time. I know his wiring. How in the hell did you convince these women to lay down with you unprotected? And now wherever you are, he said, oh, this weekend I'm going to Atlanta. What you going to Atlanta for? Oh, my baby mama. Oh man, this weekend I'm going to Louisiana. I don't even ask him why. It's always the baby mama. Baby mamas all over the country. I'm like, what state don't you have a baby mama? And they let him come on back and they treat him good, give him a little money. That's how he survives. I mean, I will do my or what's wrong with the black woman? They don't make them like they used to. But I don't want to do it that way. I'm not simping. I just feel that when the man does right, things fall into place. You know, a lot of our sisters are putting themselves out there as playthings. And I understand they get disgusted for the men playing them, and they say, "Well, if you want my body, you're gonna have to pay up because I'm tired of these guys telling me they love me and they want to start a family and love me and be with me, and they just gone." I understand that. I've talked to enough women like that down through the years. That's why when I was out there, I let a person know we can have fun, we can hang out, but this is the deal with me, right? So you're not breaking the heart by lying to somebody. And yeah, you actually have a better time. And the push is not sex. It was never that way with me. It was, let's have a good time. Let's have good conversation. Look, I wasn't a silent guy when I was younger. You all know I'm talkative, right? I was talkative back then. I was always an interesting date. Ask compelling questions, tell stories, let's do this, let's have fun. And the rest was no problem. But it wasn't for that. These guys are all uptight, going on a date, taking a woman out. I spent so much on this, and I need to get some. What you mean, man? And you're not even a good date. You can't even talk right. Because you all night you're looking at the cleavage, and she gets up to go to the bathroom, and you're looking at the butt, and like, come on, man. The whole night just for that. And most often to be a 2-minute brother. Is there anything better that you can talk about and do? I'd rather not go to bed in those days and them times in my life with somebody, but let me captivate certain brain cells they have, or they'll remember me forever. Right? Doesn't always have to come down to that, because then what? I'm quite sure there are people that might be listening to this that did that. Now you're laying up in the bed. You went through your climax and you're laying there and ain't got a damn word to say because you have nothing in common and you have no conversation, nothing to talk about, ain't nothing interesting about you. You just used each other to be a glorified friction provider. You didn't make love to the person. You didn't even have sex with them. You basically masturbated using their body as the hand that you use when you masturbate. And just like you get up when you're done from doing that and on your way now, I got a little stress off. That's all it is. Right? I'm not saying you got to propose marriage to everybody, but damn, what is it about you that's interesting? How can you motivate somebody? Oh, Lance, the conversation we had, I really want to get out there and go to the gym. I want to take care of myself better. But that's the good thing that you, and I'm going to say the word, impregnated something in them to motivate them to change their life because of the life force that you have inside of you. They don't call you back no more. It's not even just, it's nothing about you. You did what you did and you're done. A real man doesn't move that way. That woman wants to be interested in him, and and it's not just one way. You got to have presence. Most of these men these days, they walk into a room, they don't have any presence. They may have a gold around and a keychain with an expensive tag on it that, whoop, 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 you hit the alarm and it lights up. Oh, that's his Benz out there with it. And there's nothing to you. You're just a well-decorated clown, right? With trinkles and baubles and rubies, like I like to say. Nothing to you. Nothing to you. And so that's why I got a lot of envy, because I wasn't some materialistic person. I've had luxury cars, trucks, vans, subcompacts, domestic, foreign, German, Japanese. I've had so many vehicles in my life that I forgot. And I'm not materialistic. I've had hoopties where I had a pickup truck where to change the gears, it didn't even come up to the daggone column. It was a part that I had to hook on, and it was a hole in the floor, and there was exhaust coming out. It didn't come out the back. There was a crack in the pipe, and it came up inside. So I had to keep the windows open in the winter time. And that was really just to work. That was a workhorse I needed as I gutted out my house in New York and took the stuff to the dumpster, to the dump, you know. And it didn't even need a key to start. My friends in the neighborhood like, yo, man, can I have the hoopty, man? Well, yeah, but bring it back with the same gas. They just jump in, just turn, just grab the part where you stick the key, just turn it. You're gone. Boy, I got some stories for you. But let me see what Matt Guns wants to say. Uh, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me go up a little bit. Okay. He said, "Don't gatekeep vegetables, just making sure you're alive." Oh, he's talking to Diane. What do you say now? You didn't deny it. Oh, okay, that's their conversation. I thought he was saying something to me. I know you're always getting on me, brother. uh, Gatekeeping, but yeah, in just the social gatherings that I remember my father and mother going to, and you had, 'cause my father's from Jamaica, you had little West Indian things that my mother would come with him, and a lot of times he'd get together, he'd bring me with him. Everybody got along. It was genuine happiness when they would see each other. They're playing dominoes or whatever. And I felt that. Where is that now? You go to any kind of club, this way you got to do your gatherings at your home. Because there's somebody that wants to come in there and cause problems. They got their own hangups and they want to cause confusion. And you have a lot of black men. It's in every race, I understand it, but I'm talking about us right now. A lot of folks don't want to talk about it and say, "Oh, you putting us down." Whatever. Well, show me better. And you don't have to show me. I may not be nothing to you, but what's the standard? Because I remember the standards back in the day. And I hate to say back in the day because we have some good standards now with some of us. A mannerable man, a clean, well dressed, well groomed man. The single ladies see this man, he's not eyeing them up and down and looking at them a certain way. He's respectable. And when they see, oh my God, and he treats the women with respect, that alone makes him a magnet, but he's not trying to be a player. He's a man on a higher level. Not some dude who's just trying to make money to say, "I'm high value." How are you going to be high value when you have no morals? It's just you showing that you're a trick and you have more money and you want more women to just bed them down and get rid of them. We're not building communities anymore. We can't build communities if we don't build households. Doesn't mean you have to run out and get married right away, but I'm just saying, you build, you build, you build. You put the foundation down first. You should have gotten that from childhood. Somehow, some way. You didn't know. Maybe you grew up in a bad situation, but somebody should have been there to influence, right? It's in the animal kingdom, like I said. They take care of their own. They show their young cubs how to live, the young dogs how to live, all of the animals. This is how you do it. There was a young man, I'm going to wrap this up soon. There was a young man on my bus, and I've told this story before. His hair. He had an afro, but it's like he didn't even comb it. He had a lint all in his hair. He was about 18 years old, just got out of high school. And I kind of knew his family. I didn't know the family itself, but I knew the house. We was always driving by it. I saw who was hanging out there drinking. Mama always out there, some tank top on, a little titties looking like padlocks. I'm sorry, I'm not putting it down. I'm a comedian. But he really wanted to break the cycle of what I saw happening in his home. And he rode the bus with me, and he was saying how he had a job interview the next day. And he didn't have any money. He wasn't trying to hustle and say, "I mean, I ain't got no money." this guy was sincerely trying to change himself. He used to ride with me, and he saw a lot of the stuff I did online. So he's always asked me questions. I became that guy to him. I was the older guy that he felt good being around. And I knew things he wanted to ask, but he would stop sudden, but I would just tell him things because I knew he wanted to know. And so I gave him some money for a haircut. I gave him some money for car fare, and they get something to eat in the morning. I'm not trying to put myself up as whatever, but I wanted to be like the men that I saw, and I never needed another man outside of my home to give me anything because my father provided that. But why can't you not go to the Chinese food joint that night? Why can't you not order that movie for the night and just every now and then, we got these people who they go into church. I'm saved and sanctified. I'm a Christian. I got high morals. Then why are you dressing half naked during the week, but you're holy on the weekend? Whatever. We put more money in tithes to support that pimp pastor because he's positioned himself, I'm a man of God. And when you bless the man of God, God's going to bless you 10 times over. So you giving your last, he's going to bless me. So something that's coming to you anyway. Oh, see, pastor told, I got that check. You're going to get it anyway. I'm not knocking God himself, but the religion, how it's played on us. But you wouldn't dare help a young kid who has the spark of ambition in him, that if you don't do something that doesn't take much from you, that might be how he decides what side of the fence to be on. Because if I didn't do that, with the influences that he had in his home, he might have went out there and started selling drugs, got shot, locked up, and the cycle continues. So as a man, we're not saying to go out there and make it rain. You got responsibilities. But if you see a certain situation and it's put on you to see something, that means you have to do something. If you can. It doesn't mean always money. It might mean influence, talking, taking the time, because a lot of these young kids don't have anybody to talk to. And here you are as a wayward man hating on the next man. But there's so much work to be done. Y'all don't know the amount of people that vibe with me online that reach out because I might talk about a particular subject. And if I have the time, we'll talk. I can't believe, man, you would have phoned me for the last 2 hours. We've been talking. I might be here editing something or drawing something or writing something or doing something. Look, I'm on here live. I've been on here for an hour and 18 minutes after Neil's show and after the recording I didn't put out earlier. This is my natural habitat. And after I get off of this, I'm going to be here for a couple hours doing some stuff in solitude. Mind steady working. Me talking now and you hearing it. You won't hear me after I get off this show, but my mind's going to keep on going. I'm going to see something get stimulated. It's going to be like that. That's what keeps me young. Keep your mind right. Keep your head right. I don't care about certain things that are out there that bedazzle certain people. The trash stuff. I'll see it, and from a distance, I'm like, okay, all right, we know what it is. I've been seeing this stuff ever since social media came out. It's worse now. And that's why our heads are filled up with all kinds of things. And this is why a lot of us older men, do you forget how old your ass is? Have you forgotten? It's like, what is it, Khalid Muhammad? Have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our name, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God. And many of us, by the way we act, we even lost our mind. Here it is. We lost our minds. You can plant a seed a little bit every day. Now, that morning and that night, actually, and I did overtime and came in early and I saw him going to the job interview, but he didn't even know how to tie a tie. And he brought the tie with him. right? He didn't get the haircut yet that night, but he brought the tie with him. So I said, okay, here, listen. I showed him. I was at the red light. Showed him again at the next red light. Kept showing. Had him do it. Took it apart and said, okay, you do it. He's a little uncertain, but he did it. And the front part was very low and the part behind was high. So I said, let me adjust it for you. Put it over your neck. You get it right. And take it off and then, do it like that. He got the haircut. He went in. He came back. He was happy. He got the job. And I told him little pointers, little things, in an interview that maybe one of those people might try to trip him up in, not that he's lying, to not give him the job, right? If they ask you what maybe is a weak point or something you need to work on yourself, don't say, no, I don't have anything wrong with me. No, then you're lying. Just say maybe that, something good that can be looked at bad. I tend to work so much that I overextend myself and I lose sleep, whatever, because I have to get things done. Oh, that's good. We can hire him and he'll work for us. I mean, that's how they think. But how to maneuver and navigate through life. You need a real man around you. You need men back in the community. You have guys that get whipped early and they think they're in love because what they did. Oh, man, she put a mouth on it, man. I know I love her, man. Come on. We all been there. You might not be ready to feel the things you feel. You need somebody to guide you. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know, but we need men. Of course, we have our women and we need our women, but if the man is there righteously, dotting the landscape everywhere we go, the women will fall into place. Not like they're nothing and I'm going to fall into place because no. They've been holding it down. There's some who they need to have that stability also, the reassurance also. Take the burden off of them. That's a whole different subject. I didn't even know. I thought I was going to talk for 10 or 15 minutes. It's a minute and 22 seconds, y'all. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to do a few things. And I want to come on and do these lives straight from the heart, straight from the hip, as I see, especially when I see stuff out in the world, not social media gossip, but just talking about things that are happening in the world. Like, this guy, Andrew Tate, just got arrested and they're going to get him over to the UK and all these charges. I want to talk about things like that. Doesn't mean I want to just set up a whole 2-hour show on that, but just some ramblings that I want to put out there. And even some that may want to come on, Mad Guns Monster, whatever you want to come on, you can come on, right? Who else? And we'll talk. But I'm going to sign off now. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And we'll have some more stuff for tomorrow and possibly tomorrow night. Tomorrow night? Yeah, I could do that. I do have to run down into town and get back. But this is the easiest thing to do, to click a button and come on, right? Anyway, like I always say, ready for it, Diane? Much love to you all. On to the next one. LanceScurv out. Peace. I'll play a little music here, and I'm going to check some things, and I'm going to really let it sign off. Let's get there. So this is a real live show, so we really clicking buttons, right? So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Peace, y'all. Okay, there we go. Then we started it.